As fantastic a CFP as Mel O is, as wonderful an attorney as I am, and as good as Stormy is at whatever it is he does, please do note that anything said in our podcasts are our opinions alone and are not meant to be taken as financial or legal advice.
Welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, a Gen Xer podcast for musicians and music lovers, where we discuss money and music without all the pretentious bullshit. Here are your hosts, Zoe Terry, attorney at large, Stormy Andrews, founder of Yokel Local Marketing, and Mel O, certified financial planner and author of Finances, the Other F Word. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey guys, welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, and today we are going to revisit the massive panic and hysteria of Y2K, and we are going to talk a little bit about what it did and in fact did not do to the market. And again, no Stormy, but he's going to come back soon at some point. Maybe if Zoe contained her gases, then he would be more apt to come back. And there's actually a special reason why she's extremely gassy. Like if she was a 7 dwarf, her name would be Gassy. I'm dead serious. So she's going to talk a little bit about some articles, and she's going to explain to us why she is so gassy today.
Well, Mel and I like to visit a little public house called Bentley's before we come here, just to discuss ideas and, get on track for the podcast. And they had the fruity little number, which is funny because our last podcast was based on fruit. And they had this Blake's hard cider, which I've been wanting to try for a while. And it was mango and habanero flavor. Well, let me tell you, no, is all I can say.
It was like, I feel like drinking hot sauce would have been more refreshing. Honestly, It was fucking awful.
Now, I like a little drink now and again, not often, not to excess, ladies and gentlemen, but I couldn't even finish it. It was too much.
She did give it the college try though.
Oh, I did. So I had to go back to just the apple version.
So it's going to be a long studio session when she is already gassy at the table before she's finished drinking it, and I'm like, please don't let me smell that because I gag really easily. And
no comment.
So that was pretty awful. So what cool articles did you post?
Okay, well, I like my music memorabilia, and we've had we did a podcast on that a few months back. Well, this past week, B.B. King's guitar, Lucille, all of his guitars, he's named Lucille, but his most recent guitar, Lucille, I'm just going to friggin' finally spit this out, sold at auction for $280,000. It was one of the last guitars that was played by him. It was a black Gibson ES 345. It was given to BB as an 80th birthday gift in 2005, and it was autographed on the back, and it was purchased by an anonymous buyer.
So too little. In my opinion, too little amount of money that went for. And Rita, his daughter, actually lives in Vegas, and she's a big proponent of the blues. And I should reach out to her and see if she will come on our show and talk about the blues in Vegas and just her father's legacy, because B.B. King's amazing. I took my mother to see him in like 97. He was fucking fantastic.
Oh, I would have loved to have seen him.
So good.
So do you know the story of why he called his guitars Lucille?
I read it a long time ago, but I can't remember now.
I didn't know it until I just read this article. But apparently when he was doing a show early on, there were 2 men fighting in a bar over a woman, and it turned out she was called Lucille, and there was a whole big hoo-ha, and he continued to name all of his guitars Lucille after that.
I like it.
Okay, other articles. Unfortunately, we lost quite a few people in the past week from the music industry. The Grateful Dead lyricist Robert Hunter died at the age of 78. Sid Haig, who was a big star of Rob Zombie movies, died aged 80. He was an actor in various many other movies. He was also in James Bond movie Diamonds Are Forever.
And zombies movies are warped.
Oh God,
Good
yeah.
Lord. Yeah. I can't sit through them, and I love horror.
Motorhead's original guitarist Larry Wallace died age 70, and Tony Mills, who was a singer in UK band Shy and Norwegian metal band TNT, died at just 57 of pancreatic cancer. So, on the plus side, fantastic Bruce Springsteen turned 70.
Yep.
And he has a new movie coming out soon. I went to see the Downton Abbey movie at the weekend, which I jolly well enjoyed muchly, and the preview for his movie was out.
I like how you put the plug in for Downtown Abbey and then tied it to the Bruce Springsteen thing.
Just so as I keep it, relevant to this.
Yeah,
even though I really wanted to just say
I know.
that I'd seen.
I appreciate the effort to try to bring that around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was also a lot of articles in the past week about the whole Area 51.
Oh, God, yeah.
So how did it go down? Would you like me to tell you?
I do.
Well, there wasn't quite the 3 million storming Area 51 as they had hoped. I think there was there were two things going on, the Alien Stock Music Festival and then the actual storming of Area 51. So not quite the 3 million turned up to storm the base. There was about 75, a little bit fewer than anticipated.
75, like 75.
As in 75,
okay,
yes.
yeah.
Turned up at the base on the 20th of September, and there was only one arrest, and that was some guy, from what I could tell, there was only one arrest, and that was some guy who was urinating near the entrance. So
It's like he didn't get his ass shot.
I know. And there was the U.S. military was in hot water for tweeting a threatening tweet that they were going to use a bomber against any millennials who tried to break into Area 51.
Dear Lord.
And they posted a photo of a stealth bomber saying that would be the last thing that any of them saw if they tried to.
Good God.
I know. And then they hastily had to take it down and apologize.
Take it down a notch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I stole this from one of my musician friends. I posted a meme on our Facebook page, which you should go and like right now and tell your friends about it. And it said, no musician was surprised when only 150 people showed up to the Area 51 thing when 2 million said they were interested. And I thought that was hilarious. So get out there and support your local musicians because every band that you love was local at one time.
Exactly. And in terms of so that was the actual storming of Area 51. It seemed like those who went, if you looked at the pictures, had a good time. In terms of alien stock, about 3,250 people showed up for that to Rachel, Nevada. Nevada, I should say.
That's right, Nevada.
Yeah.
Tomato.
Shit. Now, Rachel, where this was being held, has a population of less than 60. That poor town was swamped with people. And the guy, the funny guy that made the joke, Matthew Roberts, I think his name is, or Matthew Robert, had apparently said that he was going to help organize and finance this whole alien stock thing and then pulled out at the last minute. And the owner of the Little Alien Inn said she had to carry on and push forward. Her name is Connie West, had to push forward with it anyway because these people were going to come.
Right.
Whether he helped or said it was a joke and pulled out or not. So she ended up pulling it off and organizing this music festival, which she said she'd never even been to I listened to an interview with her on NPR. She said she'd never been to a music festival in her life.
Oh, Lord.
And she ended up having to plan one she didn't know whether it was going to be 100 people or 100,000 people.
Right.
But she said...
Especially all the hype.
Yeah, she pulled it off and over 3,000 people came.
Good
but
for her.
she has filed a lawsuit against him and several others for pulling out at the last minute and leaving it on her and this little town to host. But seemed like everyone who went had a good time. So.
And speaking of hype, what? Y2K, y'all. That was all your articles, right?
It certainly was.
Okay. All right.
Just as well.
So speaking of hype, Y2K, y'all. What? Okay. So for y'all millennials out there, you have no idea what the hell Y2K was. And let me tell you, Y2K was a fucking shit show. When I just breathed in the microphone, it was refreshing and cleansing. So when Y2K happened, basically the computers only had the date where it'd be like, January 1/1/99, right? And so then when the dates actually flipped over to 00, there was all this fucking pandemonium that we would have. Everything would go crazy and people wouldn't be able to withdraw money, and people were crazy and they were going to the ATM and going to the banks and they were withdrawing all their money because they thought that the global whole computer infrastructure was going to crash. I don't know how it was over in Britain, but
yeah, severe panic and pandemonium. The world's going to come to an end.
Oh, for sure.
The sky's going to come crashing down.
And it was not any different, by the way, over here. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And there was this whole big hubbub, and there was an effect on the market, and everybody thought that it's the same thing because you have exchanges and they're automated, something would have happened. And so there was this just massive freak out of Y2K. And because big banks are notorious for having outdated computer systems, and having worked for a couple of them, I can tell you that that is accurate. There was especially a big concern. And by the time that the Y2K actually flipped over, we still did not have enough people compliant with Y2K. And there was, just crazy ass hysteria. Everything was Y2K. And the United States government passed a year 2000 Information and Readiness Disclosure Act. And I don't have the actual date on that. But this is how much, hysteria was there. And there was people that were saying the market's going to crash and you should pull out all of your money. And it was very hilarious as I was doing research for this podcast, as I looked back and I could see some of the things that people had stated and what you should do with your money because of the amount of the overreaction. So this is actually a article I found that was in 1999 by John Malden. And he was basically saying, this is a direct quote from his article, "I'm bullish around the world, but the problem is we forgot to fix our computers and we're just not going to get them done on time. So an overreaction, far-fetched, not so," he said, judging by the SEC reports. And this is exactly a direct quote from him. "We're going to see earnings slaughter the first quarter, second quarter of next year, the likes of which we haven't seen in decades. We're telling our clients to get out of the market. Why take the risk? The first rule of investing is don't make an investment you don't know the risk." And then he goes on to say, my favorite quote, "I don't want to look at my clients and say, trust me, it'll come back. If somebody said that in 1966 or 1973, it was 16 years before it came back." Now, first of all, I don't know why you would ever look at a client and say, trust me, it'll come back. But the one thing that the market has done 100% of the time is recover eventually. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it doesn't. Like he points out in his quote that it took 16 years. And then I kind of compare that to the 2008, which we've talked about on this podcast. We have a whole episode that's devoted to it. And we bottomed in March of 2009, and we started a very slow climb, but it did not take us 16 years to get back to where we were. And so this would just kind of explain to you some of the actual hype and the complete pandemonium that happened in the market. And of course, what you had is a whole bunch of computer system freaks out. You had a whole bunch of computer companies coming online and consultants to make them Y2K compliant and, all of this other stuff. And then what we did see is we did actually see after Y2K that we actually did see the stock market go down. And we do see that we've talked about in a previous podcast about leading indicators and how the S&P 500 is a leading indicator. So as goes the S&P 500, 9 times out of 10, that gives you an indication of where the economy is going to head. And what we see at the end of the year 2000, December 31st of 2000, we see that the S&P was down 9.10%. Now, is that getting slaughtered? I don't know. I was an advisor during 2008. That's a fucking slaughter. This is like, okay, it's down 10%. That's not great, but that's nothing compared to what we would call a slaughter now, having lived through the year of 2008. In 1999, when we ended the year on the S&P, we were up 21%. Again, like I said, in the end of 2000, we were down 9.10%. In the end of 2001, we were down 11.89% on the S&P. And then December 31st, 2002, we were down 22.10%. And then we finally see the market, the S&P, start right-sizing itself at the end of 2003, where we're up positive territory of 28.68%. And so why there's a lot of speculation and there was a lot of fear mongering and people just freaking out over the whole Y2K potential debacle and all that stuff. We actually have a very interesting article written by a gentleman by Michael Gade. And basically, he was talking about how he thinks it's more of a butterfly effect that happened. And because there was such a paranoia about the Y2K thing, that the Fed lowered interest rates to expand the money supply in the economy, which we've talked about a bazillion times. You guys have heard me say this, I swear to God, like every other podcast. And then because they kept interest rates low, because of the fear of the Y2K, we also, on top of that, had the tech bubble. So some of you might remember, and I got to give a shout out to The Simpsons for two episodes. One of them, their Treehouse of Horror episode, they did where they talked about Y2K, and they literally was like, oh, Y2K, they thought it was a joke, but then what happened is all the computers rebelled and planes literally started falling out of the sky, which was a actual concern during the whole Y2K fiasco, that everybody who was in the air when it flipped over, they are all going to plummet to their death. Zoe's nodding. I mean, it was craziness. And then, of course, there was another episode where Lisa got involved in an internet tech company, and they were literally like, they had their stocks, their shares of stocks, and we talked about Apple in a prior podcast, where they actually just, hey, you want some stock, and they pulled it off the wall. And then what ended up happening was the company ended up going broke, the tech company, and then they actually had their stock on toilet paper rolls, and it was done much funnier. But so The Simpsons was kind of right on with that. But so then we have Y2K go through. Then we have the tech bubble burst, where it was just, and there's another article here, and I want to give this gentleman credit too. Edward Thomas wrote, and he was saying that he doesn't like calling it a tech bubble because he thinks that at the time the companies were valued fairly, and that all the orders just stopped, though, because everybody had to buy new computers. So it's just like getting ahead of tariffs. Everybody goes and they buys a whole bunch of stuff, and then they kind of pad their inventory so they don't have to have things subject to the tariffs. Same thing with Y2K. Everybody purchased a whole bunch of computers. They got a whole bunch of consultations to be compliant, and then after 2000 happened and shit didn't go anywhere and there was no big drama, all of a sudden they're saying that all that stuff fell off. I have never not heard it was a tech bubble. So, I mean, I guess it depends on the side of the coin that you look at. But we had the tech bubble happen. We had it pop. Then we had 9/11 happen in 2001. And then we have the beginning of a recession. And our recession from not necessarily the fallout of Y2K, but after it started in March 2001 through November 2001. And then we started pulling out of it. And then, of course, we had December 2007. And then that was, of course, leading us into 2008. And then that we ended that recession in June of 2009. So the stock market recovered in March because it's a leading indicator. It tells us where we're going. But all of the other indicators took some time to lag to show that we were actually back on track. But the pandemonium, and it's very important that you make sure that you keep a level head when you're doing any kind of investing and you don't do behavioral finance, because sometimes there's shit that's hyped that is not going to mean anything, and other times there's stuff that is really going to be a big deal, and unfortunately that's just not stuff you know about. And so I just wanted to give you the quick rundown of Y2K and revisit it. And these are things that you look at, these are indicators you look at, these are things that you look in the economic cycle. You look for different bubbles to burst, and because the Fed was worried about us going into a recession because of Y2K, they kept rates down, so that made lending more possible. So then we had the huge run up in the housing market. Everybody's borrowing money. They're taking out equities on their home and doing all kinds of shit. And then, of course, we go into the end of 2007, and then we just tumble down in 2008. So the only effect I felt after Y2K, so I remember exactly, and actually when we were out to eat before we got here, and Waiting for Tonight by Jennifer Lopez came on. And for those of you who might remember that video, in the video, first of all, she looks gorgeous, looks the same, ridiculous. But in that video, it was turning to the year 2000, and one part of that video, it all goes dark, and it looks like, all the computers had just, went amok. And then, of course, it comes on, and everybody's partying and dancing. So my fucking 2000, I had tickets to go see Kiss in Canada on the fucking 1999 to the year 2000. Now, to full disclosure, I'm not a huge fan of Kiss. I've seen them once. I appreciate what they've done for music. Not really my thing, but I love Gene Simmons as a businessman. So I worked at the radio station at the time, and we ended up picking up a gig because there was a whole bunch of concern about terrorist attacks in Seattle. And I told my then boyfriend and my very good friend, hey, I can't go. And like, I guess, loyal idiots, even though I told them, they decided not to go to fucking Kiss and come to this bullshit remote that we had on New Year's Eve at the turn of the fucking century that I had to stay completely sober at because I was working, which is a fucking crime in itself. And to this day, I told him, I was like, please, I don't even care that I'm not going. Take you. You got to be kidding me. You got to go. If I hadn't been working at the radio station, there's no fucking way I would have spent my turn of the century down at this bullshit piss-ass radio remote, sober of all things. But the only effect that I had is when I actually pulled out of the parking garage, all of the computers were offline, and the guy is like, which, by the way, if it sucks to be at a radio remote sober, it sucks more to be working at a fucking parking garage with people who are celebrating the turn of the century. And he was like, you know what, dude, the computer's offline. He's like, just go. And I was like, okay, thank you. Have a good fucking
Happy
new century.
New Year.
Yeah, with my sober ass driving home and him stuck in a damn booth. And so anyway, so that's how I spent my 2000 turn of the century, and not at Kiss. And I really wish Ted and Todd would have went, but you can't. I mean, to this day, I would have been like, I love you, but peace out. There's no fucking way I would have missed the show. What were you doing at the turn of the century?
I have no idea. I can't remember.
It's the turn of the century.
I know, and I'm just trying to remember. I think, and I'll have to ask Little Sis Fish about this. I'm pretty sure we went to a club in London. I'm pretty sure we went to a New Year's Eve party in London, but I really don't remember. Yeah, sorry.
I don't even. You should
know,
see the
that's terrible.
face I'm giving her right now.
I know, she's
that
giving
is
me a
the
look.
craziest shit.
I know.
I didn't know what to expect from her, but I don't remember is not it. It was literally, we'll never see it in our lifetime again.
I know.
Unless they put our heads in a jar like they do on Futurama. Great show, by the way, as you know, from our social media feed. Okay, well, since Zoe has no fucking idea what she was doing on the turn of the century, she can.
I resolved to find out somewhere. Or
She's
another.
going to give
But
us an
I was
update.
in my 20s. I was in my late 20s. I was single, same as you. I mean, I was just out doing what I did.
At the turn of the century, you were just out.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, so at least tell us at least some songs that were topping the charts between America and Britain, and she can remember that because it's on paper in front of her, but obviously
that
nothing
I can
else.
do because I researched it.
Oh,
but
God.
I mean, it's all just a haze. My 20s and my teens, to be honest. I know that's terrible.
All right.
But yeah.
Maybe that's why she shakes when she gets excited about a song now.
Well, yeah, now I'm in my 40s. It's all, downhill, as we know.
Maybe for her.
Yeah.
She has kids. I don't have kids. I'm at my prime. I just caught a glimpse of myself in the visual. I'm like, hey, what's up, sexy? How you doing? How you doing?
Not so much for me.
Yeah,
then.
not today. Not today.
So I have a rundown for all of the number ones in the US and the UK for the year 2000.
This is going to be a good playlist.
Yes. So let's start with America.
Yes. Let's always start with America.
And then we'll end on a high note. Okay. So January 2000, it was Christina Aguilera, What a Girl Wants.
Oh, that's a horrible song.
That's how you started the year. All right.
That's in January?
January 15th, 2000. That was what was.
God help us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you couldn't stop there.
I like
moved
how it's
on.
me. I'm I'm representing America, like Ireland. Okay,
it's all
go
your
ahead.
fault.
It is.
Then you went on to Savage Garden. I Knew I Loved You.
Oh.
Oh, God, it doesn't get any better. Then we moved on to Mariah Carey featuring Joe and 98 Degrees. Thank God I Found You. Oh, my
What was wrong
goodness.
with America during
I
that
don't
time?
know.
Maybe this playlist isn't going to be as great as I thought.
No.
It's already
Maybe
sucking wind.
the English one will help, or the British one will help, because
Maybe.
by March it was Lone Star, Amazed. Oh, okay. It's starting to get a lot better.
Okay.
Then we had Destiny's Child, Say My Name. Say
Okay.
my name, say my name.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least, okay. Yes.
And we've just talked about Santana. Santana featuring the product GMB Maria Maria was number one.
Off of Supernatural, amazing CD.
Was number one for 10 weeks in April.
Awesome.
Then Aliyah, Try Again. Was it Aliyah?
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, excuse me.
Dust yourself off and try again.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Rip.
Okay, we're starting to go. Enrique Iglesias, Be With You was number one in June for 3 weeks. Okay. Don't even know who this is. Vertical Horizon, Everything You Want.
Yeah. He is everything you want.
Oh,
He
yes.
is- yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Matchbox 20, Bent.
Okay, you put an S on that. It's Matchbox. You
I
said
said
No, you
Matchbox.
said box. Matchbox.
That's what I said. What did you think I said?
Listeners, she added an S, right? Okay,
No,
what's the
that's
name of the song?
Bent. Or Bents. Bent.
Oh, yeah, Bent. I don't like that song.
Oh, and then
Can't help me,
NSYNC.
I'm bent.
It's going to be me.
It's gonna be May. One of the best memes of all time, besides the one I just posted today that I wanted to show Zoe, but we're in the middle of recording. It is fucking hilarious. It is my favorite meme, hands down.
What is it?
And I'll show it to you. Well, I
Okay.
can't describe it.
Okay. All right.
It's a visual thing.
All right. In August 2000, it was Cisco, Incomplete.
No idea.
No idea. End of August, we'd started to get sassy again. It was Janet Jackson, Doesn't Really Matter. Don't know that one, but
I don't know that song. Okay.
and
And I
continued
saw her live.
continued with the sass with Madonna, Music.
Music makes me Yeah.
Now then,
And she was pregnant in the video, I think.
Christina Aguilera had a second number one with "Come On Over, Baby, All I Want Is You" in October,
Do not know it, thank God.
and then Creed with "Arms Wide
Oh,
Open."
fuck, I hate Creed
really?
and Nickelback.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
dear God.
it was only number one for 1 week. And then Destiny's Child, Independent Woman, was number one for 11
Hey.
weeks.
All the ladies done something, throw your hands up at me. That's all I can bring to mind right now.
And that was your 2000, America.
All right. Well,
Okay.
All right, let's see if Britain did much better by us.
I'm not sure that you're going to know.
I'm sure
I
I'm
don't know.
not, but
Oh, my goodness. And we have a lot more because things weren't staying number one for very long in the UK. So the first one, January, was Manic Street Preachers, The Masses Against the Classes, which I've talked about before, but you won't know that one. Then Britney Spears, Born to Make You Happy.
I do not know that song.
Okay, well, neither do I, but somehow she snuck her way into our number one.
You can give her.
Gabrielle was number one next in February. You probably don't know her. She has one eye, wears an eye patch.
No, I do not.
Don't know her?
I do not know
look her
her.
up. Oasis was number one with Go Let It Out in February. Then All Saints, Pure Shores, which is funny because one of the All Saints was going out with one of the Oasis. So there you go. Or going with, as my lovely Nan used to say. Or she goes with him, you know.
That's what we said all through junior. Are you guys going together? That's what we said all through junior high and high school.
Oh.
I thought that's what you said.
Madonna, American Pie was number one in March. Then Chicane featuring Bryan Adams, Don't Give Up. Do you remember that?
I
Oh,
don't
know.
actually.
Everything was just staying at number one for 1 week. We were very fickle in the year 2000 over my way.
Well, we were, all devastated by Y2K.
Oh, well, maybe that's then. Anyway, Jerry Halliwell, Bag It Up. She was one of the
Spice Girls.
Spice Girls.
The red one.
Yeah. Melanie C.
No, another
Featuring
Spice Girl.
Lisa Left Eye Lopez, Never Be the Same Again.
She's sporty, right? She's
Yeah.
a sporty one.
Sporty Spice. She was my favorite, if I had to have a favorite. Then Westlife, Irish band, Fool Again. Craig David, I liked him. Fill Me In.
I just think she wants to pad this playlist with so much British stuff. Go ahead.
But I can't help it.
I know.
Everything-
No, go
yeah.
ahead. Just hard edge reporting. Just
Okay.
do it. Say it like it
Fragma,
is.
Toka's Miracle. No idea who that is.
Me either.
Oxide and Neutrino, Bound for Da Reload. No idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Britney Spears, gosh, she was there again. Oops, I Did It Again with another number one in the UK. Then Madison Avenue, Don't Call Me Baby.
I don't remember that one.
Billie Piper, Day and Night.
I don't even know who that is.
She's a very famous actress, but anyway, another time. Sonique, It Feels So Good. Black Legend, You See, The Trouble With Me. Kylie Minogue, Spinning Around. She was number 1 for a week in July 2000. Eminem, The Real Slim Shady.
Nice.
The Cause, Irish. Breathless.
Yes. Yeah, I actually like that song, and it's very close to country.
You leave me breathless.
It's very
It
close
is.
to country. I know, and I'm like, I hate myself for liking it, but if it's a good song, I'll just call it like it is regardless.
Then Ronan Keating, Life is a Roller Coaster.
I may or may not own it still and have it on my iPhone. It's probably very true. All right.
Oh, God, we still got another page to go.
Okay.
All right. 5 and Queen did a version of We Will Rock You. Oh, in July 2000, they were number 1 for a week. Then Craig David was back again. Craig David, All Over Your Boink. He did a song called 7 Days, and he was number 1 again for a week. Then Robbie Williams, Rock DJ, for a week. Melanie C, back with I Turn to You.
You guys love the fucking Spice Girls.
Oh, we did. I don't know why.
I know, and they just did that tour, and they sold out. They made stupid money. We covered that on another podcast.
Then in August 2000, Spiller featuring Sophie Ellis Baxter. Groove Jet, If This Ain't Love, I like that song. That was number 1. Madonna was back at number 1 again with Music in September 2000. A1, Take On Me. Oh my God, somebody did a cover of Take On Me.
Don't redo that.
Somebody did, and they got to number 1. That's appalling.
That's really, sucks.
Mojo, Lady, Hear Me Tonight. Lady. I'm just singing to myself. Don't know if I know that. Oh my God, Mariah Carey featuring Westlife, Against All Odds was number 1 for 2 weeks in September. All Saints back again with Black Coffee in October. U2, Beautiful Day. Steps, awful manufactured band, Stomp. Spice Girls, Holla, Let Love Lead the Way, number 1 in November. Westlife, number 1. God, it's all just...
It sounds like it's just getting shittier as you're reading it.
A1, Same Old Brand New You. Leanne Rimes, Can't Fight the Moonlight.
Oh, good God.
Destiny's Child, Independent Woman.
Thank you.
Okay, so we were...
Coming back a little bit.
Yeah, she was, they were number 1 for 1 week. Then S Club 7, Never Had a Dream Come True, another manufactured awful pop band, number 1 in December. Then we're saving the best for the last 2 songs. Eminem featuring Dido, Stan. I love that song. That was...
creepy song, but great song.
Yeah. And then for 3 weeks in December, Bob the Builder, Can We Fix It, was number 1.
Isn't Bob the Builder a cartoon?
Yes. Bob the Builder, can we fix it?
Are you making this
Bob
up just because
the
you already
Builder.
hollered out
Yes,
to the
we
Wiggles?
Can.
Jesus Christ.
And that's how we finish the podcast today, people.
I am so sorry. I had no idea when she was researching this. I had no idea that we would go so awry.
With the Wiggles and Bob the Builder.
And awful. So if you guys have any feedback on the podcast or you have any suggestions for things you would like us to cover, please feel free to reach out to me at Mel, M-E-L, at hotmoongear.com. Give us your feedback. Please subscribe and rate and review us. Follow us on social media, on the gram and the book.
That's what I like to call them anyway.
At Finance is the other F word.
And the twit if you want, but we really don't give a shit about the twit.
Yeah,
so much.
Maybe one day we'll make our presence known on Twitter, but so far not really been happening for us. And then of course our book is on Amazon. Finance is the other F word. And as always, we appreciate you guys churning in. We've seen a whole bunch of more states in the United States come online just recently, and we can't thank you enough. We're so excited. At some point we're going to go and we're going to give you guys all a shout out when we have more time and we don't have to get up and out of this studio. And all of the countries that are coming online as well, we just we appreciate you, and I've said this on a previous podcast, but I want to reiterate it here now. Thank you for allowing me to be myself. And I'm assuming, since you're listening, you're not judging me or Zoe. We can judge Zoe a little bit. But
Judge me. I don't care.
But
Judge
you're not
me.
judging either of us, and we just want to tell you thank you so much. And with that, I got nothing. You got anything?
No.
Okay. And on that note, we are out. We'll talk at you guys later.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. If you like us, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.